Hello, welcome to Devan Alethia TV. I am Devan Alethia. Welcome back to my channel if you are a returning subscriber, and if you're not, welcome. I am glad to have you here. I like to talk about makeup. I like to storytell and talk about makeup here on Devan Alethia TV. That's what I'm here for. So today we're going to do a horror book review, and the book is named Baby Teeth by Zoje Stage, and I hope I'm saying that right. It's like with a J, so hope that's correct. But we're gonna do a review on her book Baby Teeth, and I'll pop that right in the description here. So there are three main characters in this story. There is Alex, the father, there is Suzette, the mother, and there is Hannah, the daughter. The two characters you see the most of are Suzette and Hannah. Sorry, I had to back up a little there. I felt like you couldn't see my head. So the main character in general, I feel like, is Suzette. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Suzette before we get really into the story, because Suzette has a large portion of involvement in this story, and she is Hannah's mother. So Hannah and Suzette don't get along, and Suzette has sort of resented Hannah since she was born, or even before she was born, really. Suzette has Crohn's disease, and if you don't know what that is, it's like a bowel issue. You can Google it you want to learn more about it, but Suzette goes into it a little more, and I felt like that Zoje Stage did a really good description of what it is in the book, so you definitely get a good feel of what it means to have Crohn's. And she's gone through surgeries and stuff, and also Suzette did not have a good relationship with her own mother, so it was also not a good example for Suzette in becoming a mother, because her and her mother did not get along that well, and she didn't have a good relationship with her mom, especially during the time where she initially had these surgeries on her intestines and stuff like that. That kind of puts a backstory, a realistic backstory. I really liked that on the situation, because a lot of authors don't give such a in detail backstory. Like, the characters actually feel real, so I really like that about the story, that the characters really felt real to me. Suzette, she's Hannah's mom. Hannah started getting a little strange. She is 7 years old currently in the story, but she started getting a little strange after her toddler years, so probably around 5. And what I mean by strange is she started being kind of violent, and Suzette really doesn't know how to handle it. And I was really hoping for because we're doing a review here, I was really hoping that the ending would have given me like a deep dark secret to why Hannah was this way, like maybe something Suzette did. And there was a couple things, like Suzette is not an angel, and that's why I said these characters are very realistic. I do admire that about the characters. They do definitely make, Zoje definitely made the characters feel real, and the story was very real. Hannah is very manipulative. To sum things up, Hannah is finding out different ways that she can hurt her mother, kill her mother, and definitely at the end here, she did want to end her mother's life. But her father, Alex, has no idea about the true intentions of his daughter. Hannah only shows him what she wants to show him. So when Suzette is telling him all of the things that she's done, it's really hard for him to believe his wife, and that causes tension in the relationship. And you know, that's a very toxic manipulation tactic. And also, Hannah has not talked spoken words yet, and that is another thing I want to talk about, because that will not spoil it for you, because I don't want to spoil the book in my reviews, but it will not spoil it. So let me get right back, and I'll carve out my brows and put on concealer, and I'll be right back to talk about that. So anyway, sorry, it's gonna look really stark white for a minute because I'm gonna wait to do my eyeshadow. But anyway, Hannah did start talking only to Suzette, and it was not like they were hoping for her to talk for a long time, but it was not what they'd hoped it was. So she talks to Suzette as a witch that supposedly was hung in the witch trials, and she was evil and da. And Suzette actually starts wondering if her child is possessed and not like emotionally unstable. So that is what it's like Marie-Anne Dufourcey. She had Hannah researched online a bunch of information and started trying to scare her mom, basically. Then she actually started believing in her head that Marie-Anne was real too. But she started speaking all of a sudden, and she's 7, and that's, you know, very worrying if a 7-year-old has not spoken. And her husband kind of gets jealous that she's spoken to her and not him, but he doesn't understand until a little later on, because Suzette was reluctant to tell him that it actually was not as positive of an experience of her speaking as they had hoped, because she didn't want to spoil the progress or whatever. But there's a lot of things that end up coming to a head, and there's a few things that Suzette did that was not perfect. So she's not an angel character either, which I did like. So, like I said, I think honestly that Suzette was battling postpartum depression this whole time, and no one was really there for her. She's been homeschooling this child forever, and instead of, she's been asking to send her to school because she wants her life back, and she has been unable to do it out of guilt, and other people basically saying, no, that's not what's right for the kid, because she's gotten kicked out of other schools, stuff like that. But Hannah ends up plotting to kill her mother, and gets real nasty. So anyway, the plot does thicken a little bit, gets really messed up, the things that she's willing to go, like the lengths that she's willing to go to hurt her mother. So it gets real fucked up, I will tell you that. Really fucked up. Furthermore, they do end up trying to enroll Hannah in a school for kids kind of like her. And at first, things do seem to be going just fine. The parents were like, hey, maybe everything's gonna be fine after all. She seems to be acclimating okay with her teachers. Like, for a long while, she was absolutely fine. And she was just abiding time, basically, doing what everyone wanted her to do for a while she could think of a plan, because she wanted her dad all to herself. Ultimately, she didn't want mom around anymore. So at some point she ended up hurting another kid, which she did at other schools too. So she ended up hurting another kid again, and it was bad. So they ended up expelling her, and just like she wanted. And so she ended up getting sent back home. And then Suzette reached out to a counselor. Now, all of this happened, and her name was Beatrix, by the way. all of this happened way later than, just a side note, and I know this isn't real, but I have kids, and this happened way later than I would have allowed with my own children. If I saw something was going wrong with my kids to this dire extent, I would have not waited until this long, because like I said, prior to this, she had her other kids. So I would have sought therapy for her long before this. But to be fair, I guess it was mostly because the dad didn't want to own up that his kid had a problem. So it wasn't all Suzette's fault, because she had been tiptoeing around Alex for a long time because he didn't see all of the behaviors that were going on. So he didn't really believe that his child needed the help. So it was really hard to convince him that his child would have needed therapy in the first place. And they have a lot of money, so it's not that they couldn't afford to get her to the therapy that she needed. It's just that he was reluctant because he didn't want to basically own up to there be something wrong with his child. So that is an issue for sure with this. I'm going to come back after I finish up the eyes and lashes and stuff, and then we'll finish up the face together, and I will review the book and give you some final thoughts about how I think it ended. Well, good thing you didn't see that, but you might see remnants. But there's glitter all over my fucking face, so there's that. But anyway, I am going to finish up this look with you guys and let you know the wrap up and what I think. So all in all, there ends up being a huge incident that makes everything pretty clear to the dad, so don't worry, and I hope that doesn't spoil too much for you guys, but he does end up realizing what's happening, so that's good. But some bad things do happen, and honestly, Alex doesn't, I don't like Alex, the dad character. I don't like him. I think at first he's like, first of all, he's a pussy. He doesn't stand up for his wife. He doesn't realize what's going on. He's too much of a softie towards his daughter. He doesn't back his woman on what she needs. And it takes a lot for him to actually understand what's going on. I mean, I understand you don't want to think that your kid is, you know, having these issues, but he is the one who basically perpetuates the problem because he refuses to admit there's a problem for the longest time. And Suzette doesn't help either, because she kind of allows him to do that and just like pushes the problem under the rug because she doesn't want to make him upset. But it doesn't matter, because that means that Hannah was put last. So anyway, let me wrap this up and tell you my opinion. So I do like the book. I like the flow of the book. I do think Zoe Stage's writing is very good, and she does a very phenomenal job in making the characters realistic and like real human beings. I think she does a great job at doing that. I really, really do. But there are a few flaws, and major ones in my opinion. So I'll first start with what I like. Like I said, the writing's really good. I feel like the characters are realistic. Suzette has real life problems, and she's not a perfect mom and nor a perfect person. So I like that. Kudos to Zoe for pinpointing those details, and also The father seems to be realistic. He's kind of busy at work and doesn't get involved too much, and is kind of just, Hannah's really happy to see him when he comes home, and acts like a perfect little angel, and he's completely unaware. So they make that pretty realistic, because if someone's home with the cat all day, they know what's happening, and the other parent that's gone realistically knows less than the other parent about what's going on with their child, right? So that was good. And I read it on Audible, so it actually is really creepy when Hannah is speaking. So kudos to that as well. I found that pretty intriguing and, you know, not scary, but just intriguing. So that was really cool what they did there about it going. The dialogue goes back between Suzette and Hannah. So I do like that you get the two perspectives. You get Hannah's, you know, what's going on in her mind and what's going on in Suzette, because she's scaring the living shit out of her mom. So you get both sides of the story, and you know what Hannah's plotting, and you know what Suzette's thinking, and when Suzette's oblivious to what Hannah is doing, basically. Now, what I didn't like is that I got really into this book, and then I got to the ending. I thought there was going to be like this huge build up to this family secret. I think I said something about it earlier, and there was really no secret. And hang on. I don't know if I like this lip with this look. We'll see. And anyway, Suzette did do something pretty bad in the beginning. Like, I didn't like it, what she did. But I didn't think it was enough to cause Hannah to become this crazy person and out of control and just hate her so badly. So, and then the ending is like a cliffhanger. And you'll see that, and I didn't enjoy that part, and that's why I'm giving this book a 3.5. I will read the second book if there is another book. I will read it because I'm curious. I am, and I will read more of this author's work. But yeah, 3.5 for me, because, you know, I didn't like the ending, and the ending is so important to me. But guys, please sound off down below if you like this, if you have read this book before, if you've read this author before, if you're gonna read it. I'm curious, and I will see you for my next upload. I know I've been gone for a while. I had some stuff going on, but I'll be uploading Friday and Saturday. So watch out for my videos. Thank you for joining me. Bye. That ain't another woman's treasure, that's another